All right, so what you're going to do is, first of all, we need to turn off some of what are called the drawing aids. Because one of the things that has been added to AutoCAD over the years is some ways of leveraging the graphical user interface to make drawing a little easier, or a lot easier in some cases. And we will learn those things, but not today. Because today we're going to learn the coordinate system of AutoCAD and the command line tools. So we have to turn off all of that, all of those drawing aids. And they are down here at the bottom right, okay? So the first one is this one that looks like an L, okay? Make sure that's turned off. That's called, actually I don't know what that one's called.
It's saying ortho mode.
Ortho mode, there, thank you. The next one is this polar tracking mode, which is the one that looks like, I don't know, Pac-Man or something. Turn that off. This next one is dynamic input, I believe is what it's called. Turn that off. The next one is like showing line weights. You can turn that off if it's on. This other one is, I don't know what that is, but you don't need it.
Let's show high transparency.
Yeah, see, why is mine not hovering? That's weird. Okay, yeah, you can turn that off. This second one, you can leave on, that's fine. This one here, which is like the little angle thing, that is object snap tracking, and then you also want to turn off object snap. Okay, turn all those off. Okay. Now, the way the AutoCAD works is it is basically an XY grid graphing tool. Okay, and back in the day, you probably took some math classes where you learned about XY graphs, right? And you know that the x-axis is horizontal and the y-axis is vertical. Okay. And what you may or may not have learned at that time is there is a third axis called the z-axis. The z-axis is here, but you just can't see it right now. And the z-axis comes into play when you start doing 3D CAD drawings, which we are not going to do in this class. But we might there might be some situations where we might have to infer the z-axis. A little bit, but we're not there today. Today, this is all about just XY, okay? And so you should see over here in the left-hand corner, bottom left corner of your the drawing area, this little thing that says Y pointing up and X pointing to the right. You see that? That is called the UCS, which I believe stands for Universal Coordinate System. In AutoCAD, I think that's what it stands for. It's something coordinate system, unified or universal or something like that. This is telling you which direction the different axes are pointing right now. You can move it. You can have Y pointing to the right, and if you want, I mean, you can rotate this thing around, and which you would do all the time, especially when you're drawing in 3D. We're not going to do that. So just make sure that Y is pointing up and X is pointing to the right. Okay? If it's not, then I can show you how to fix it. Anybody been messing around with their UCS and got it moved? No? Okay. So as long as that's doing what it's doing, then that's great. What I'd like you to do is, if you can kind of just take your scroll wheel and zoom out a little bit, eventually you will see the actual location of the UCS. And it is lined up with this green line and this red line. So the green line is the positive axis of Y. So that the green line is Y, and the red line is X. Now that's just a thing. That's just a reference for you. You don't have to keep your drawing inside of the green and red line. You can draw outside of that. You just get into negative numbers at that point. So if you start drawing on the left side of the green line, your X values are going to be negative. Whereas if you draw on the right side of the green line, your X values are positive. If you draw on the top side of the red line, your y values are positive. And if you draw on the bottom side of the red line, your y values are negative. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you remember enough about XY graphs to know that much? Okay, good. Perfect. All right then. So here's what we're going to do then. We're going to start drawing. So this is what you got to draw, and you're going to use these commands. So I'm going to start by drawing this first symbol, okay? And you kind of have to look at it for a minute and just kind of think about it before you start doing it, because you have to draw this by typing in coordinates. And this is why, maybe getting out a pencil and just like marking some of those corners and stuff of things would be helpful. But I'm looking at this and I'm saying, well, it looks like this is 2.5-ish times wider than it is tall. Okay, if I'm looking at, because I got to draw that rectangle. How big is it? Well, however tall it is, it looks like it's maybe 2.5 times wider than it is tall, right? And just to give myself some resolution on this thing, I'm going to say that it is 10 units tall and 25 units wide. Now, this is an important concept for AutoCAD to understand. AutoCAD does not draw in scale. What I mean by that is there are some drafting tools that you may be familiar with or have used before where you have to decide your drawing scale first. And what I mean by that is eventually, hopefully, when you do these drawings, they will end up on a document, either on a real or a virtual piece of paper. And that piece of paper will have a certain size. And when you print your drawing onto that piece of paper, let's say you're drawing this room, okay, as a ground plan or something. Well, you're not going to draw this. This room looks like it's what, 20 feet that wide and 30 feet deep-ish. So you're not, if you want that drawing to show up on a piece of paper, you're not going to draw a 20-foot by 30-foot rectangle, are you? Because you would need a 20-foot by 30-foot piece of paper to fit that on when you printed it. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to draw it smaller than that. And you're going to draw it in a certain scale. And that scale would be like, okay, every 1/4 inch on this paper is going to represent a foot in real life. So that's what I mean by scale, is a 1/4 inch equals a foot, or a 1/2 inch equals a foot, or whatever. 1 meter in real life is going to be represented as 1 centimeter when in my drawing, okay? That's scale. Now, some CAD programs want you to figure out that scale before you start drawing. So, because that's how you would do it back in the days when we did it with pencils and stuff like they do across the hall here. Okay, you have to decide your scale. You have to decide how big this piece of paper is. You have to figure out what the thing you're going to draw is and figure out, okay, well, am I doing 1/4 inch scale, 1/2 inch scale? What am I going to do? You have to make that decision before you draw any lines. Okay? AutoCAD does not work that way. In AutoCAD, you draw everything in full scale. So you actually draw a 30-foot line. Okay? And you worry about scale at the end. So when it comes time to actually print it onto a piece of paper, that's when you start worrying about scale. AutoCAD has tools to figure out, okay, it's a 30-foot line and you want to print that in 1/4 inch scale. It knows how big of a line to draw on the printer, okay? So you're going to draw in full scale. And so AutoCAD is basically unitless. It doesn't really know or care what unit of measurement you're working with. You can make it care if you want to, but by default, it just uses generic units, all right? So when I say units, that's what I mean is, that could represent feet, centimeters, meters, inches, whatever. It doesn't, but for the purposes of this drawing, because this drawing is not a picture of anything in real life, it's just a diagram of symbols, there is no scale that is meaningful. So we're just going to say units. So when I say units, that's what I mean. It's just like that distance between 0 and 1 on the x-axis. That would be 1 unit, right? Later, we'll get into how do you make AutoCAD care about things like feet and inches and stuff like that, but we don't need to worry about that right now. So for now, I'm going to say this little rectangle here looks to be about 10 units tall and 25 units wide. That is, in my case, not entirely arbitrary, because I did draw this thing already and to create this graphic for you. So I happen to know that that's exactly what its dimensions are. You don't necessarily know that, and that's okay. I don't care if you get that exactly right, but you need to guess. You need to make a pretty good guess, and you need to try it out, and you'll see, does that look right? And if it doesn't look right, then delete it and do it again until it looks right. So, but you got to guess a little bit about what are the dimensions of this thing. So I'm going to say this one is 25 units wide and 10 units tall. So let's take a look at how we would draw that in AutoCAD. So I have, I've zoomed out here, and so I can see my UCS, and I'm going to type my first command. My first command is rectangle, and it's actually rectang, or REC is the shortcut for it. So just type REC, enter. And you'll see at the bottom, you're now inside of the rectangle command. And it says specify first corner point, or there are some options. You don't need to worry about the options here. So the first corner point is going to be 0, 0. 0 on the x and 0 on the y. Enter. And then it says specify the other corner point. And you enter these x first and then y, separated by a comma. So the x is going to be 25, 10. 25 units wide on the x and 10 units tall on the y. Enter. There you go. Now you got a rectangle. How'd that go? That work for everybody? All right. Let's go back to our reference. So now I need to draw this line here that is a little bit below the top edge. Yeah.
Mine didn't work.
Okay. Let's see why. Yep. Yep. Okay. On the 0. Oh, you did. Oh, yeah, 25, 10.
Oh, thank you. I know we learned it last week, I just couldn't remember. Where'd you get your mouse?
Do a zoom extents.
Oh, okay. I was just really far away,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
Does that mean you have more than one now?
Maybe. I did it like 3 separate times.
Okay, so click one of them. And hit E enter. Now click another one. E enter. Click another one. E enter. Okay,
Okay, and then
now
I'll do it
undo.
again. Oh, okay. Undo.
There, okay.
If you layer on top of each other, can you tell like the line thickness get weird?
No.
That is scary.
Yeah. I mean, eventually down the road that you will be able to figure that out. But right now, though, you would have no way of knowing that. Yes.
Like if we were doing it 3D, then we would see if we had done multiple.
Not necessarily. Because you've literally just drawn the same thing 3 times in exactly the same place. And that there's not necessarily any way that you would be able to see that, because it's literally, I mean, you're defying, you've like entered the quantum realm at that point, you know? Because like in Newtonian physics and all that, you can't actually have the same thing exhibit the exact same point in space, but in AutoCAD you can. Okay, So, all right, so we need to draw this line now. Now, knowing that this rectangle is 10 units tall, and knowing that I'm going to have to draw these two lines as well, I'm going to say these are spaced 2 units apart. So let's say that this one is 2 units down from the top, so that would be 8 vertical, right? So this line is going to be, it's going to start on 0, 8 and end on 25, 8. Does that make sense?
Why did you? Oh, you're getting the 8 because it's 2 units.
Yeah, 2 units down from the top,
Yes.
right? And the top is 10. So here we go. This command is line. You can type L-I-N-E, or you can just do L, enter. So specify first point. First point is going to be 0, 8. Next point is 25, 8. And if you do that, you should see something like this, depending on which way your mouse was pointed. You've got this, you're still in the line command. The way the line command works is you can just keep drawing lines. Give it another coordinate, it'll boom, and just connect the dots, okay? We're not going to do that. We don't have another line we want to draw right now that connects to this one. So to get out of the command, just hit enter or spacebar. And you're done with line command for now. Okay? So now we need to draw these little connection lines on either side. So I'm going to say that this one starts 2 units up from the bottom and goes 2 units to the left. So that's going to start at 0, 2 and end at -2, 2. Right? Because I will now be on the left side of the green line. So here we go. L, enter. The first point is going to be 0, 2. And the next point is going to be -2, 2. And then I can hit enter again, and there's my line. See that? And so now we can just kind of keep going. The next one would be what?
0, -4.
Close, +4. That's where it will start. And then the end of it will be
Or 4, -4.
4, -2.
Line negative. Oh, because it's only going over.
Yeah,
2. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
So 4, -2. Oops, something, I did that wrong. I did something wrong. Okay, so it is, oh, no, it's -2, 4. We did that in the wrong order, because remember, it's x first. There you go.
Is there a way to turn on coordinates, like, to show us on AutoCAD?
What do you mean?
Like,
To show you where you are?
well, yeah.
Okay, yes. So move your mouse around. You see how your little pointer moves? Now look down here and you will see it'll tell you where your mouse currently is.
Crazy!
Yes.
Something wrong, and now I have a weird line.
A weird line.
So it went
Yeah.
like that.
So type undo.
Yeah.
Actually, just hit escape. Get out of the command. Now type undo. And how many times do you want to go back? It's like 1, 2, so do like 2. Enter. There you go.
So now I'll just redo the.
Yep, redo that line.
So the first point was negative.
The first point was 0, -2. No, because x is first.
-2, 0.
Negative, no.
No, it would be this. So this coordinate is 0, 2, and then the next coordinate is -2, 2.
I feel like it's harder to
It is.
Wait, what was the next one? Then he said 2, -2, right?
Negative 2, comma 2. Okay.
It was like, okay, all done.
All right. So yes, there is this little cheat where you can select the line and then hover over the end of it, and it'll tell you where that is.
Oh.
Okay.
So wait, when I'm going to the next line, do I need to click enter again and then
So restart and then issue the line command again. Okay. Now I'm looking at this, and does this look like my symbol? Not really. I think that top line is a little close, isn't it?
yeah.
So I think I'm going to move it up one more unit. Because I think it should be a little bit higher, just based on what I'm looking at here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this line and do E-enter to erase it. And I'm going to draw it again. So this time I'm going to do it a little bit higher up. So it's going to be 0, 5. I'll try it up at 5. That looks better. And then the next one will be negative 2, 5. That looks better.
He said it can be a little bit.
Yeah, it's fine. No, I'm not going to take a ruler to this thing. Okay, let's finish this up and draw the 2 lines on the next 2 lines, the ones on the side. So those would be,
0.
it would be 25x, comma 2 on the y, and then 27 on the x and 2 on the y. That's the first one. Next one will be 25 on the x and 5 on the y, and 27 on the x and 5 on the y. Okay? There you go, I did it. First symbol. All right, you know almost everything you need to know to do this now. The last thing I'll show you is the circle command. So let's say I wanted to draw a little circle right there, because you're going to have to do that circle like that. So I'm going to do this. The circle command is just C, enter, and you're going to specify the center point for the circle. So if I wanted it to show up right at the end of that line, that would be 27, 5. And then it says specify the radius. And I don't need this to be enormous. I'm going to say 0.25. Enter. And there's a little dot. Okay? That's it. You should be able to do this whole thing with those 3 commands. Line, rectangle, circle. So I will give you a couple of heads up on a couple of things. Just these are equilateral triangles. You may need to look up how to figure that out. How far away is the point of that triangle from here on an equilateral triangle? There's a little bit of math you have to do to figure that out. You can look that up. Okay? So you can figure that out. Then for this one, I would suggest doing that as a separate file. Okay? Don't try to do that in the same CAD file as this, just because you'll start getting lost in the coordinates really quickly. Okay? Yes?
Do you need each one to be individual, or can we? No, never mind.
So what I would like is for this whole thing to be one CAD drawing. Has all these symbols. They don't have to be spaced exactly like this. You can put them, lay them out however you want. This one obviously needs to be just like this. Okay? But do them as separate files. Yes?
Can we move the symbols once we've created them? Like
Move is not a command that I have taught you yet, is it? So no.
Okay, so we have to like pick different coordinates to pick the other ones.
Yeah, what I would suggest is like going through this and mark it up with the coordinates. Like, do the connect the dots, right? Put dots where every coordinate is, and just like write it down. Where's this going to have to be? And something that could like make your life a little easier is like the next symbol will start 10 units up above the other one, and now you're starting at a new 0. Okay, so I would, so you don't get lost. Just start marking up that sheet. That's why I printed it out for you, so you can keep track of the coordinates. You don't have to remember them all. Just write them down. Everywhere there is a point, put that XY coordinate right next to it. So that then when it's time to draw the next symbol, you can figure out, okay, where do I have to put this next one? It's past that, okay? And that's it. So again, the rules are, for drawing, you can only use line, rectangle, circle. Type it. Don't use the mouse to issue those commands. Type them. And you can use erase and undo if you want. And the only thing you can really use the mouse for is for zooming, panning, or selecting things. Okay? This is going to feel, when you're doing it, you're going to feel like, surely this is not the most efficient way of drawing this stuff. And it is not the most efficient way of drawing these things. But the point here that I'm trying to drive home is 2 things. There's 2 critical learning outcomes for this assignment. I need you to wrap your head around this coordinate system. You need this concept of x, y, and negative x, positive x, negative y, positive y. That needs to become second nature to you. And by the end of this assignment, it will be. Okay? The second thing is, I need you to get used to typing commands instead of clicking icons with your mouse. Okay? Because if you can get that into your head, you will be able to draw in AutoCAD way faster. Like, it is objectively faster to draw with the command line than it is to draw with the mouse. Okay? So those are the 2 critical learning outcomes. Get used to command line drawing. Lock into your brain the way XY coordinate system works. That's what I want you to learn. You will demonstrate that you have learned that by delivering me these 2 files. And I will know if you strayed outside of the boundaries of what I've said. I will know. I will be able to tell. Okay? So don't think that I won't see it. I will see it and I will know. You drew that with your mouse. Like, I will know that. Okay? So just embrace it. Embrace the inefficiency, because it is inefficient in the name of education. This is not where you learn how to do really fast, really good CAD drawings. This is where you learn what the coordinate system is and how to use the command line. That's what the point is. Okay? Yes, Brooke.
Is there ever like, I don't know, a reason where you would need to be like super fast? Cause I know like, so I was in tech yesterday for walk-around.
Yeah.
And I sat right behind like the lighting people and programmers and
Yeah.
whatnot. And like they were like moving fast, and I know that's like normal for programmers. Like,
Yeah.
You know, typing or whatever fast. But is there ever a reason that you'd have to be like doing super fast things in AutoCAD or like?
Yes.
Oh.
So generally speaking, when you're doing these drawings, like if you're in a situation where you're doing these drawings, you are probably not getting paid by the hour. You are probably getting paid by the job. And so the quicker you can draft, the more you're getting paid for your time. Right? There's no incentive for you to drag it out.
Yeah.
Right? There's only incentive for you to get it done faster. And so, yes, learning how to do it quick is the name of the game. Getting quality quickly is super important. The same is true on your production assignments, by the way, because we track your hours. Okay, so if you're working on a show and you're helping with the paperwork, we are giving you a fixed number of hours credit for that production assignment. I've calculated it ahead of time that is a 250-hour production assignment. And that's how much time you're getting credited for on that thing. If it takes you 300 hours to do it, that's not getting recorded anywhere, right? We're gonna, those of you, well, this doesn't apply to AJ, but the way we grade you guys in production when you start doing next year production assignments with us is we say production is 360-hour assignment. for a semester. And we will say your production assignment, the show we put you on, let's say that is 260 hours that we're giving you credit for to do that assignment. That means when that show is done, you have to do another 100 hours of work on something else to earn your full production grade. So we call that overhire. So you'll go help out with other shows, and you need to log 100 hours working on other shows, helping out with load-ins and stuff like that to get your full hours. So that 260 credit hour assignment, if you spend an extra 50 hours on that than we are giving you credit for, that doesn't mean that you get to do less overhire, right? So even when you're in school, there is an incentive to get this work done quickly, okay? So yes, absolutely. If you can learn how to get your CAD drawings done in 50% less time, that's really good. So yes, draft faster. That's the name of the game. Get quality quick.
Well, we're doing our sound production assignments and stuff next year. If we were, this probably won't happen, but like in the off chance that we, like, very, very off chance that we were to finish before, like, with less hours than we've allotted, do we have to make those hours that we didn't?
No, that's the beauty of it. So if I say it's a 260-hour job and you can get it done in 200 hours and have it be good quality and you get everything done and everything's great, I still give you credit for the whole 260. That's called getting paid by the job, not by the hour, which is typically how you're going to get paid in real life. You're going to get paid by the job for the most part. The number of times, I can't think of the last time I was ever paid by the hour, like in my entire life. It was like back when I was in college and working as a lifeguard or something. But since then, any of my work doing this kind of stuff, sound stuff, I've always been paid by the job, never by the hour. So yes, draft faster is the name of the game. Any other questions? All right, you may use the rest of our time to work on this.